Hi, I am Tony Russo, and this is Brief Introduction from Kates-Boylston, where we talk to people in the funeral business quickly about what they do and why they do it. Today we speak with Scott Jensen. He is a co-founder of First Call Marketing, and he is an expert in digital marketing and AI application with a sole focus on the death care industry for the past 3 years. As the co-founder of First Call Marketing, he will be speaking at the upcoming Kates-Boylston Advances in Funeral Service Innovations Conference on November 12th. But we wanted to speak with him now to get a sense of what he'd be talking about and some takeaways for those of you that can't make it. For those of you who can, though, you can buy tickets right now using the podcast promo code, which is FSI50 for $50 off your registration fee. And right now, there are early bird prices in effect, so you could save even more if you register. More about that at the end. Right now, let's talk to Scott about his presentation and some of the basics for ranking with AI. So the presentation that you will be delivering is how to be the funeral home that ChatGPT recommends. And this is huge only because it's such a complicated time to try to be involved. I mean, SEO was hard enough, and now that may be going away or it's going to get changing. So what are some of the big takeaways you hope people get from this presentation?
Yeah, so first of all, it's one of the questions I get asked the most. I'll meet with someone, we'll talk about marketing, and if I don't bring it up, it almost always comes up of, hey, but what about ChatGPT and what about AI and what do I need to do to be showing up at the top there? So I think it's top of mind for a lot of people. And I think, as you mentioned, there's a lot of kind of confusion around it too. And so that's kind of the reason is top of mind, and there seems to be kind of confusion and veil around what's going on with it.
One thing that I found in my own experience using ChatGPT is that it feels like maybe a little oversold. It's not doing as much as we were led to believe that it would do, and it's not doing it as well. Do you find that? Do you find people have high expectations?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's timely too, because I think last week, Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, who owns ChatGPT, he said some stat about like 95% of AI initiatives have not been profitable for companies across the world. So I mean that means only about 5% of them are profitable. And so, yeah, there's definitely like a bubble and a buzz around it. I do think that there's a lot of real value behind it, and I do think it's going to affect things moving forward. I just think the actual implementation might take a little bit longer than people actually thought, or the adaptation of it as well.
I guess I should mention that it's August as we're recording this, because this won't come out until early September. But one of the other kind of buzzy things is that ChatGPT is really good at guessing the next word, for writing and things like that. So that I know is one way, but what are some other ways that funeral service can use ChatGPT?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. At least, so I'm going to talk on the marketing side, because on the other side with the funeral home, there's different ways you can use it to be more efficient. On the marketing side, you got kind of two sides with it. So you got, how can I be the one to show up when people are asking ChatGPT, what funeral home should I use? So there's that side. And then the other side is, how can I use AI internally to improve my marketing and make it more effective?
Oh, that's cool.
I'll be touching on both of those in the presentation. But the first one, so I think it was actually perfect that you mentioned this, Tony. You mentioned something with like SEO kind of dying or changing. And that has been kind of a sentiment, but it's actually very wrong. And the reason is when people just searched on Google would show you originally 10 listings per page. You could click on the next page, see another 10 listings. So you could see hundreds of listings. However, now when people turn to ChatGPT is not just showing a ton of listings. It's giving recommendations, and it's only going to recommend a couple of options. While SEO is different now, it's almost way more important, because ChatGPT is only going to recommend a few options versus Google just showing pages and pages of options. So I think for those reasons, it's really important for funeral homes to really focus on their SEO. Other acronyms in the space right now are GEO, which is Generative Engine Optimization, which is how you can optimize your results for AI like ChatGPT, so that you make the cut and you're one of the ones they recommend.
So I just heard a podcast talking about AI, and one of the things that they were talking about as an example of things AI did very, very well was Google Maps. And what they said is Google Maps shows you the quote best unquote route, and then it shows you a couple of other routes. So it gives you suggestions, and it also gives you other options. And when you just said that, that kind of rang my bell. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound like a good analogy?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the benefits of it. There's several use cases where AI is really good. I think where some of the overhype comes with AI is when it's not as performing. It's not performing as well as some people thought in some use cases. But there are some use cases where it's really powerful, and one of those is like suggestion. Some of it is data retrieval and data summarizing, and so that Google Maps thing, that's kind of suggestions of showing, hey, you could go this way, but there's benefits of going this way because you'll use less gas, so it'll be better for the environment, and it'll only take 2 minutes longer, those types of things.
And so when we're talking about things that can be done at a funeral home, is that even a good comparison? Or I guess the question that I'm getting at is what can you do at your funeral home? How can you apply what AI is already good at to what you do?
Oh, yeah. So I really see the value in funeral homes is one, you got to make the cut. So when people ask ChatGPT which funeral home to use, you don't want to be left behind. You want to be one of those ones. Because in Google's been a little bit more generous because, like I said, they show tons of listings, and so even if you're number 8, it's still not great, but you're still at least being shown. Whereas ChatGPT, they're probably going to recommend just a few of them, and they're not going to list, hey, here's all the other options. And so it's super important that you make that cut. Now, let me be clear, Google's still king right now. Like Google still owns the search space, but we're seeing ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, some of these other LLMs start to steal some of that market share. And so it's really important that you make the cut on those platforms. The other side is just ChatGPT and other AIs, they can take a lot of your load off your plate, and they can also give you more data and more analytics. So not necessarily family facing, but as you're digging into your marketing, you can use it to be more effective under the hood.
That's fantastic. And I was wondering, can you just give me like an example of one way that can happen?
Yeah, great example. So we used to record our client calls that came from, so leads that we generated for clients, we would record the calls, and then we would go back and we would listen to them. And we'd listen to them to find out, hey, what kind of call is this? Is this somebody who actually is calling because they're looking for a funeral home and they're trying to find a new provider? Or is it somebody who's just calling about, hey, what time is Shannon's service on Saturday? Or, hey, where can I find Bob's obituary? Or, hey, when can I pick up grandma's ashes? Versus, hey, my grandpa's in hospice. Can I use your services? Or, hey, my wife just passed away. Are you available this Saturday? So we would go back and we would listen to all these calls, and we would take notes and we'd write summaries to find out which ads are working and which ones are generating the right types of leads that we want. And as you can imagine, it took a ton of time. Like we had to hire people to do it kind of full time, go back and listen to things so we could gather this data. But now we just use AI to do all that. So we've basically built a tool that AI does all that automatically. So when these calls come in, we have AI basically go in and categorize them afterwards for us and tell us, okay, this one was a good lead because this person actually has a loved one who's in hospice and will likely need our services in a week, versus this one was just kind of a logistics call because they're just coordinating the paperwork for the death certificate, those kinds of things.
And that is all I have for you, unless you have something else for me. Is there something that I didn't ask that I should have, or something you thought you'd get to say, but I didn't give you the opportunity to say it?
I didn't have anything too strong in mind. I apologize if it was a little confusing where we went with some of that stuff. And that's actually exactly why I'm speaking on this, because AI in itself, even just like in this interview, there's some parts where it's like, wait, what exactly do we use AI for, and how does it help? That's really why we're talking on it, is just to help understand, hey, how can I show up when people are searching on ChatGPT, and then also how can I use it internally?
Once again, you can hear Scott's presentation along with all of the other great presentations at the upcoming Advances in Funeral Innovations Conference in Detroit on November 12th. If you go to events.Kates-Boylston.com, or if you click on the link in the show notes, you'll be able to see all of the speakers and also to see that we have been approved for 5 continuing education credits in multiple states. Finally, as I mentioned in the beginning, use F like funeral, S like service, I like insider 50 to get $50 off. That is FSI 50 to get $50 off your registration. The early bird rate is $197 to register, so that would make it $147. See, I'm great at math. So the price will go up soon. I do not know how soon because I don't know when you're listening to this. So please go to events.Kates-Boylston.com where you can click on Advances in Funeral Innovations and get all the information you need. If you are listening in the distant future, we have more events coming up, and FSI 50 is our recurring discount code. Brief Introduction has been a Kates-Boylston production. It was written and edited by me, Tony Russo. Please reach out. Again, in the show notes, you can send me an email. Tell me what you'd like to hear. Tell me what you don't like to hear, and I will do my best to accommodate your vision. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll check in again with you soon.